pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we move to our agenda this evening, I would like to ask all of us in the room to take a moment of silence for the victims at the Robb Elementary School. Thank you. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We'll move on to new certified staff candidate introductions. And Rick.
Yes, good evening. We have a
Good
slate
news.
tonight. Yes, good news, definitely. We have 7 to welcome this evening. We'll start with Rachel Botroff. Rachel, if you would stand, please. Yes. Rachel is one of our new speech pathologists in our early childhood program. And as you know, that program has a unique schedule, so she'll actually be starting in June, not too long from now. So she comes to us having some contracted experience with some school districts, and most recently was in Rochester schools. All right, so welcome,
Great.
Rachel.
Welcome.
Next, we have Eric Clowder. Eric's in the back. Eric will be our new middle school band teacher at Scripps. Eric comes to us from Frankenmuth, where he has several years of experience up there. And on a note, you'll see he's with Dakota. They are already collaborating. Dakota's had him over for tacos with the rest of the music department, and so they're getting off to a quick start. So welcome to Eric as well.
Welcome.
Next, we have Bobby Klaus. Bobby, you may recognize the name. Former LO student and athlete. Bobby's been at Orchard Lake St. Mary's for the last 10 years or so, and will be coming over to work at our high school, teaching math.
All right.
So welcome to Robert,
Welcome
or
home.
Bobby, as he goes by. Yeah.
Can't keep those dragons away.
Next, we have Rachel Distelrath, like high school special ed teacher. Rachel did a long-term sub for us back in 2015 when she, just after she had graduated, and most recently, she's in Bloomfield Hills School District. So we welcome Rachel back, I guess, if you would. So, all right. Next, we have Soraya Dobis. I don't think I saw Soraya come in, so I did not. Soraya is coming to us from the other side of the state, so that might be part of it. She is relocating to the area. Currently, she works for the West Shores Educational School District, which is their version of our Oakland schools.
Right.
So that's their ISD over there, and we welcome Soraya. She'll be a district-wide school psychologist.
Great.
All right. Next, we have Rebel Reynolds Molina. Rebel. Rebel will be at our Pine Tree Center working with our, the adult population. Why am I drawing a blank? Phases program, jeez. Rebel did her student teaching here in Lake Orion just recently and is currently working at the Pine Tree Center as a long-term sub, finishing out the year with us, so she'll start officially next year. And she has her family with her, I see, husband and son.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, and finally, we have Ashley Tucker. Ashley, social worker at Blanche Sims. She comes to us with some experience from the Huron Valley Public Schools, so we welcome her as well.
Welcome.
All right, and as I've said to each of you, that is it. You're more than welcome to leave. Nobody will be offended.
Speeches.
Thank you.
I'll have another 7 next Wednesday for you as well, so.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
great.
Wow.
That's great. That's great news. It
Yes,
really is.
we're well ahead of the game, which is a bonus.
That's terrific. All All right, so we'll move to learning highlights and our communication update. And Mark, please.
Thank you very much. In terms of communication, it's the end of the year, so there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of events and everything, some of which you'll see here, and we experienced last night, as we'll talk about. So it's an exciting time at the end of the year. I know that everyone, like all of the staff and everyone and parents and everything are thinking about, they're tired because it's the end of the year, and all the kids are excited because the weather's great and they're getting outside. So, seeing so many things outdoors has really been good because the kids need that energy. So, I guess, Heidi, if you want to share, we'll start with the instructional coaches. We've added 3 instructional coaches, Andrea Mady, Lisa Jones, and January Stafford. If you want to share a little bit.
Yes, and they're new to the position, but we're not adding coaches, so to speak. We had a retirement, and then there's a domino effect that occurs after that. And so we are very fortunate to have these 3 join our instructional coaching. So welcome to all 3 of the ladies.
And on our website, there's videos of each of them talking about why they wanted to go in the position and their background a little bit. So if you want to know more about each one, you can visit that story. This is last week. The DK students went to the zoo, and they had a great time. I think it was a wonderful day, and they were able to be outside and really experience some of that. They've had, obviously, DK, they're young, and it's their first year, so this is a great way to kind of cap off the end of the year. And we're doing field trips, which is nice, given at this point in the year, early in the year, we weren't sure that was happening, so. Patty LaRue, who is one of our teachers of the year, she's outstanding at Stadium Drive. She does this garden club after school, and they planted. I was there in the middle of the day, and she was setting it all up, and the students came in, and they had all these questions after school for their club, and she obviously was patient and loved teaching them. So now it's all near the entrance to the building, so you can go in and see what. And every day they walk in and they can see how they beautified the school, which is really cool for those students. This was Lake Orion High School last Wednesday morning. It was a lot of the events that they've had and spread out over in the last couple of years were all kind of in one morning. They had the departmental awards, you can see down there, and they had yearbook signings, and they had their cap and gowns, and they had yard signs that they were able to buy, and it was all of these things all in one. So it was really and they had a senior breakfast. So it was really an exciting morning for those seniors, and a lot of them just said it became pretty real when they're getting the cap and gown. That's always a moment for them. So Carpenter Dash is the fun run. A lot of the fun runs have moved to the spring from the fall because obviously in the fall a lot was uncertain and everything, and they've all found different ways to do it. At Carpenter, it was really unique. They had a family of parents, Grant and Elise Fodor, built a lot of the items. Like they like those tires they spray painted, they built, and they built those things where they're jumping off, and they had a committee. It was really something put together it wasn't just running. They had these obstacle courses, and the kids, they were worn out, but it was really exciting because they had all these opportunities to kind of get outside, and each group had like 45 minutes to go, but the parents were out there the whole time for like 3 or 4 hours. So it was a lot of energy and a lot of commitment by those parents, which is great. The Orion Area Youth Assistance, Ben attended this. There was 2 awards. It was given, basically the Orion Area Youth Assistance is an opportunity to recognize students who have done things either personally or given back to the community. They had community service awards given out that night and personal growth awards, personal performance awards, and for students who had overcome obstacles and challenges and everything. So I don't know, Ben, if you want to speak about what the night was like.
Just to recognize that there was a lot of great work that these students did that got them there, and they were all dragons, and it was great to celebrate with them and be recognized with many from the community. So
that's great. That's okay. I'll look at you next time. This is one of the cool events that's gone on for a couple years here. The partnership between the art department at the high school and Stadium Drive Elementary. The Stadium Drive students make a 2D drawing of whatever their theme is or their choice is. It's passed along to the art department at the high school, and the art department and the high school students build it into a 3D paper mache or paper, and that's what they did this year. And then they had a day last week where they all came together, and the high school students walked over and they presented them. And these kids were amazed at what they, like, to see it come to life. It's like something in their dream, and then they hold it in their hand, and they got to keep them. It was, Ben was there too. It was just, they were marveling at the opportunity and really the connection. It's great. I mean, Stacy Feeney was the high school teacher, but last year Sam Remy. Every year, you know, that connection. And this is something that we talk about a lot, and Heidi really pushes having this connection between all the levels that we're all, you know, we talk about we're all dragons, and the high school students aren't in their own world. They have these connections. They have these dragon days that the leadership team does, and that they've planned, and these are opportunities to really cross the different ages, and which is really important.
Yeah, that was really fun, and the kids got to interact, and they really engaged well with them, and the marvel in their eyes when they got their 3D objects was really cool.
Learning Options last week, on the last day for many seniors across the district, they had a picnic, and they had a march out where they all clapped them out and everything at the end of the day. So it was a nice opportunity for the option students. This was yesterday. This is yesterday at Weber, actually, not Stadium Drive, where they came, and this guy has come, Dan, from the Creatures Company, Little Creatures Company. He comes every year, and the kids, I mean, I don't know, they came during COVID, obviously, but the other years, and Melissa Barrett, who's one of the teachers, she has seen him for 26 years or something like that, and he keeps coming back every year, and the kids you can see on their faces how engaged they were, and every animal they wanted to touch more and more, and he's like, you got to sit down, you can carefully, gingerly see the tarantula. They kept it in the box, but it was still close enough for them to get to. There was a mini alligator that he took out and was moving around and everything. It was an experience, definitely. You guys were all there last night to senior honors. It was really a special evening. I know there was a lot of appreciation by the families and everything, at least the ones I interacted with last night, and they really, you know, it's a night that they get to experience. Obviously, it's graduation, but this was, you know, their students are really high achieving, and they've done quite a bit of effort to get to that point, and I think it was nice to recognize them last night. And finally, the dinosaurs from Canterbury Village have been at many of our elementary schools. They're making the rounds. They were at Carpenter, at Stadium today. They were at Orion Oaks. And these students, you know, the younger students, they are somewhat tentative. They're a little bit scared, but they get close and they're like, wow, a dinosaur. And the fifth grade students are picking up the feet to see if it's a human and pulling on the tail. So, but it's a cool experience. It's nice of Canterbury to come by, and you should check out Canterbury's opportunities, you know, where you can go on the weekend and see far more dinosaurs in a whole village and everything like that. So, thank you very much. Any questions?
Questions for Mark?
Great.
Always good news.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Mark. All right, so we'll move on to high school leadership class, and
All right, we have
forward to our report.
Yeah, we have Savannah and Grace with us again this evening. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having us. Okay, so last week we hosted Night at the Oscars, which is our senior mock awards. So there were 40 awards, and not the whole leadership class, but many of us dressed up as celebrities, and then we presented them. So, like, I was Emma Watson, so I dressed up as Hermione. And, yeah, Sav couldn't be there because of volleyball. But there are a few pictures up there of, like, Allison and Michael were, MGK and Megan Fox. And then Patrick and Dorian were Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell. So you can see, like, their celebrity lookalikes are posted with them. But the top left picture is the whole leadership class. And then the bottom two left, I guess, are people getting their awards.
On last Wednesday, we decided to do like a senior sunrise, just like celebrate the seniors. It was their choice if they wanted to come or not. Nothing was really offered, but I mean, just to hang out with your friends. And here are a few pictures from that morning. It turned out, it was supposed to rain, but it turned out to be good. So I'm glad it worked out well.
Okay, so we had to say goodbye to our senior leadership members. So they all put their handprints on the back wall. So here's a few pictures of them just doing that. So.
The same morning last Wednesday, the seniors had to come in and get their caps and gowns and their yearbooks. So we had a grab-and-go breakfast for them placed there. And Grace and I also went to Costco, and we got so many muffins and bagels.
My trunk was filled completely. It was
so
crazy.
many.
Yeah, there were a lot. And then we had to cut them all.
It's okay.
Yeah, it turned out. So. Okay, and then here are a few of our awareness boards. So the top left was for Memorial Day, and then the bottom left, so they wrote on sticky notes like a bunch of positive messages. So when you walk by, you can take a little sticky note to like brighten your day, which we thought was pretty cute. And then exploring Oakland County, so they did a bunch of our parks around here. And then the Michigan Adventures is just a bunch of places around Michigan you can go outside and see nature.
Stadiums, Friends and Fun Night, some of our leadership class went and helped out with that. I heard it was a lot of fun and everyone really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they just worked all the stations with the kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go over this?
Oh, yeah. So SOS Week was last week, and leadership partnered with Sources of Strength, which Miss Redmond leads or oversees. Or is the advisor of, sorry, I was trying to look for the word. But on Monday was Mental Health Day, and the Spirit Day was wear your PJs or red. And during lunch there was bubble wrap being passed out for a fidget, and then there was also fun disappearing paper for students to try out. There was also mindfulness sessions going out throughout the day where classes could sign up and go to this mindfulness session. Next year, the high school is actually creating a class for mindfulness, and it's just to learn how to control yourself and like being stressed out and how to manage your time. On Tuesday was Mentor Day, and it was wear green or dress like your mentor. And in the two bottom pictures, a group of girls dressed up like Miss Feeney. I know she was mentioned in the Mr. I don't know his last name. Sorry, okay. And then Mr. Kopak was also recognized. And then you could tag the pictures on Instagram and win a prize. On Wednesday was Healthy Activities Day, and you could wear athletic clothing or blue. And that was the day before school, all the seniors had their little goodies and stuff. And we had service dogs in the morning, which was a super fun experience for us.
They were so cute.
Yeah, we had a ton of service dogs there.
So nice.
And there was also a bubble walk, but that's being rescheduled for sometime next week because it got rained out. And then on Thursday was Generosity Day. It was wear green or support a charity. There were kind of sticky notes being passed around the school, and in the top picture there was SOS writing the sticky notes, and then the bottom picture is Dorian wearing his sellout shirt. And Friday was Positive Friends Day. It was wear yellow or twin with your friend, and then during lunch you could write a candygram to some of your friends, and then you could also take a Polaroid picture with them, and they had the little station set up.
So yeah, there's me and Sav twinning.
Yeah.
And our Polaroid picture at the bottom. Okay, so we just recently started planning for our homecoming next year. So right now we have 11 possible themes, and our class is split up, and we're planning boards. So they are not yet finished, but here's a few pictures of them like building the boards. And then once the boards are finished, we're gonna vote on the top 5 to go out to the school to vote on.
On this past Sunday, we hosted a girls' night out for 5th grade and 3rd grade girls, well, 3rd through 5th grade girls, for Weber and Orion Oaks. We had 4 different stations. We had volleyball, dance, a bracelet making, and a relay race. I think they all had a really fun time, and it seemed like they enjoyed themselves.
Okay, and then at the senior honors night, we had 2 of our leadership members passing out signs, and they sold 48, which is equivalent to $960, which is a lot of money in signs. But they were there until 9 p.m. So there's just a picture of them when they finally finished with the clock in the background.
They
I
look
thought
so
it was funny.
happy.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, terrific. Great job, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. What's that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you saw us passing a note up here, Scott had to step away because he had an issue at his business because we're not allowed to pass notes during a public meeting, but that's all it was just informing Jim that Scott had to leave.
Okay, so we will move on to presentation tonight, and always a special night with Teacher of the Year and Support Person of the Year recognition. And Ben, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, very good. Well, this evening, one of our valued community members, Wayne Haney, is going to make a presentation to our individuals. So Wayne, if you want to come up to the podium, a little bit about Wayne. He, those of you that don't know, he is our FBI agent or Farm Bureau agent. And he's located, I believe, in Broadway, downtown Lake Orion. And he gives back to the profession. He's a retired teacher, and we're very thankful for his generous donations to both our teachers and our support staff. Would you like me to go ahead and introduce the teachers and have them come up and then go ahead and say your piece, or?
Sure, I can say something and then you can call them up and we'll
Let's
call
do
it
that.
good.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
when I was teaching, I might have started by asking you to write down or say something that comes to mind when you hear the word insurance. Please don't. But when people ask me, well, why do you want to start a small business as a retired teacher? And the first thing that came to mind was, I said, I want to give some insurance money away to people who are helping our schools. And the second thing that I had a passion about doing, still have a passion about doing, was creating some jobs. And I'm thrilled to report that as of this year, we basically doubled our team this year, and we were able to hire 4 more team members this year, one of whom is a senior at Lake Orion High School who came to us through the internship program. Unfortunately, we don't get to keep him forever, but he's been phenomenal. So there are exciting things going on at the high school. But I always tell new team members when they come onto our team, I said, all I'm looking for is somebody who knows how to care about people and knows how to love. I can teach insurance. And given these apparently constant reminders, but most recently what happened last night, I'm just reminded all over again, as I'm sure you are, that anybody who dares step foot near a school is just a bona fide hero. And so every one of these people who we're honoring tonight and all the people they represent are folks who know how to love and folks who have a heart. And, you know, the rest of it's details, right, that we can teach them and help them. But so I'm super grateful for the opportunity to give back a little bit and for us to take a moment to say thank you to all the people who give to our schools. So thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, great. And, you know, as you mentioned, we have a lot of staff with great hearts, and the nominations and our staff, you know, certainly so many are deserving, and, you know, we have to make the tough decisions that come down to one individual from each level. So the first that I'll introduce had an opportunity actually to be to each of these presentations, but the first one at Orion Oaks, Lori Van Ardsdale. She is our elementary teacher of the year. We got the pleasure of meeting her husband and I believe her daughter online from Arizona during the presentation. So this is Lori. And at the middle level, and there must be something about tacos, and I get to learn more about that, but Dakota Cooper, a music teacher, highly respected, and is all about relationships as well. And I believe Dakota had his family there as well during the presentation, and that was fun. So that's right, Jim, you were there as well. So our high school teacher of the year was not able to be here. That's Stephen Bodia. He's a high school math teacher, and many people know him, not so much for his great math teaching, but for his great relationships with students. And that came through when we heard about those nomination letters and whatnot. So Mr. Haney, we will get your gracious gift to him in the future. And then also at Scripps Middle School, we have an outstanding support staff person of the year, and that is Anthony Terramina. And so Anthony, come on up. Anthony got his award at Scripps Middle School in the cafeteria, and that was quite a celebration for all. And he enjoyed himself probably as much as the kids and the adults. So I'm not sure, Anthony. You were pretty high on that. So, but congratulations to everybody. Well deserved, and appreciate all the work that you do with our students.
Awesome.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, and please feel comfortable to leave. It's not going to be awkward if you continue on, so we understand. But thank you for being here. Congratulations.
More great news.
Yes.
So we'll move to public participation. There is no one for any of the agenda items this evening, so we'll move to strategic area discussion items and governance. And Ben, please.
All right, thank you. As far as legislative update, as most of you have been reminded and know, the budget process continues. John will talk more about the May consensus revenue estimating conference, I'm sure. There, certainly still uncertainty, although the forecast was very positive from the month of January consensus revenue conference to the tune of about $3 billion overall. And again, John will talk probably more about some specifics. I don't want to take all of his material, but there still continues to be talk about tax cuts. The end of last week, there was a tax scheme put out there, House Bill 4568, and really they're looking to cut taxes to the tune of about $2.7 billion, and that's pretty significant. And there is a bill tie-barred to that, Senate Bill 784. There's some legislation, and it would make some various changes to disabled veteran property exemptions and whatnot. So we'll see how all of this comes out, but we probably will see some sort of a tax cut soon, but just so everybody's aware of that. There was, as I mentioned, about $3 billion, $1.7 billion of it was in the general fund, identified for general fund, and $1.3 billion in the school aid fund. So pretty significant dollars and pretty positive. At least we're talking about additions to, school aid and not reductions. So that's definitely a positive. Also tied to that, the state recognized in that conference that there's a overall reduction of about 900 students in the state projected for this particular fiscal year. Again, as we've talked about here in the district, a lot of it has to do with declining birth rates. So obviously, if there's fewer students, then, there's less of a numerator and the money that comes out and whatnot. So we'll see how this all plays out, but it should be positive results for school districts in our state. As far as other bills, there's House Bill 4538 that deals with work keys. They've been talking about that, and really what that would come down to, if it all goes through, is not mandating the work keys, but allowing districts that choose to utilize that. And we did talk about that in the past, but it's still going through process. But those that do utilize it, getting refunded for the assessment amount. So we'll continue to watch that. And then really the last piece that is relevant to school districts at this point is House Bill 4375, and that revises the law for retirees. Wayne left, otherwise we could try to, get him to come back. But they're reducing the amount of time they have to be away from work to, I believe it was 9 months. And then also making some changes to the critical shortage area as well. So those were the big pieces that I wanted to bring up here this evening. Any questions around those updates or anything else? Okay. And then as far as the COVID update, we did talk about me doing these through this particular month. So I wanted to provide that again this evening. as we continue to understand the data, it really kind of has stabilized, at a higher rate. But again, the positivity rate in the county is 20.4 as of May 22nd, and you can see that the number for the per district, 58.8, is relatively stable compared to the previous week, and it kind of looks like it's flattening out and hopefully starting to go back down. It held on a little bit longer than what the health department and MDHHS had predicted, but hopefully it'll continue to go down. So. All right, Julie, last slide. And then the last piece, just as a reminder, I do continue to meet with the health departments. We did talk on Tuesday about continuing our conversations with the health department. We are going to do those every other week instead of each week. They'll continue to give us the data sets on a weekly basis, but the actual conversations, unless something, percolates at a high level, we'll be meeting with them every other week. So that is really, the gist of it, and there really was not a whole lot more from the health department or the county superintendents about COVID.
Questions? Think we're good?
Okay.
Thank you. We'll move on to the Oakland School Board of Education election, and I think Birgit's going to handle that for us.
Yes, so as you all know, we've been discussing this upcoming election, and at our previous meeting, while we were having the meeting, there was a forum going on to which you all received a link that you could watch afterwards. I know out of speaking with several of you that some of you did have the opportunity to watch that. And so tonight, our job is to determine, we get 2 votes because there are 2 seats up. There were 5 candidates. So our job tonight is to narrow this down to 2 candidates. And I would like to open this up for your input at this point.
Are we going to do beyond that because of the tie-breaking procedures?
Well,
We had
I'd like to
discussed
narrow
that.
it down to 2 first, and then move on from
And then
there. I
move
think
on.
that's the
Okay.
appropriate point
Fair enough.
of working through. And also, I wanted to ask if there was anybody else. I'm still willing to be the designee to go, and I'm willing to stay the whole time, and trust that you all will handle learning options graduation without me.
Everybody's good with Birgit covering that for us?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Good.
I know that's a part of the resolution page, so Julie will be able to add that into the page, the document. So now I want to open it up for discussion as to who you think your top 2 candidates might be, and maybe we only need one person to start the ball rolling and to see who
I'll get her
agrees.
going.
All right.
After I actually watched the videos twice, just because the first time you're kind of absorbing, right? And the second time you can kind of delve a little bit deeper into it. And after just watching watching through twice, my top 2 would be Steve Gottlieb and Connie Williams. Connie's one of the incumbents, and Steve would be newer on the board, so.
Yeah, and just to say that Steve Gottlieb is a current board member out of Troy. So
Yes.
he already has experience. And
Yes.
as you had, just for the sake of those of you who haven't seen it.
Yes, and he also, I took copious notes, was a Troy teacher for 41 years as well. So
Right.
he's very familiar in the educational field as well. So, yeah, those are my 2.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Who else?
And Brigette, as I mentioned to you prior to the meeting, I love the resumes, a little bit old-fashioned looking at that, but I guess I missed out on the videos. And you indicated if I'm wrong on the video by not looking at it. But Mr. Gottlieb, I've known, not personally, but through other board members from Klaus and Troy area, and I love the resume. And I just have one that I'm really excited about, and that's Mr. Gottlieb.
Okay. Are you opposed to having Connie Williams as the
No, not
second
at all.
one?
I
Okay.
was impressed with her resume, but I didn't get the opportunity for
Opposed. Right.
follow-up personally on her
It's gentlemen.
or his.
Yeah, there are, yes.
Connie.
But Mr.
Connie
Gottlieb
is a
is.
gentleman,
Yeah,
correct.
Connie's a gentleman as well.
And Charlie was a female, so
Yes.
can't make any assumptions
Well,
here.
that's why the videos are great to
Yeah,
see if you can.
yes.
You can not make a mistake like that. Thank you.
So is there anybody opposed to having Steve Gottlieb and Connie Williams as our 2 primary candidates?
Those were my top 2 as well.
As were mine. Susan?
Yeah, I like theirs as well.
Well, that's awesome. The top two candidates are Steve and Connie. So Jake, what was your, he's our statistician and he
So the
did
math person
here.
comes down, because we haven't had this situation before. The reason Birgit has to stay is if there's a tie. So what I suggested is that we rank order the other three, so that if there's a situation where those other people, where Birgit is faced with having a runoff election and Steve and Connie are not in that runoff, we have to give Birgit direction who to vote for. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to vote in the tiebreaker election.
Correct.
And the way it works is all three of those people could be in a runoff election. So we sort of have to rank order the other three.
In addition to that, Jay, can we give her, under the rules, full authority as a board to use her discretion? Should it come down to that?
I don't know.
Well,
Our resolution, I think, would have to be pretty specific.
would it be safe to say you have a third? Because I think it was pretty easy to eliminate because of lack of experience. So the third
Charlie was my third.
was your third. Oh, okay.
Oh, see, Barb was my third.
My third.
It didn't really,
Okay.
I didn't go that far, I'm sorry.
I think based on experience that
Because, yeah.
we would probably want to consider Barb as someone with experience on that board, even though she's not in our first two.
Feel okay about that?
If there's no objection to that.
None on this end, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I was
Okay.
really focused on the two.
Right, right. It is an outlying chance that there could be a tie, and if I don't stay, we don't get a vote, and if we don't have an understanding what it is, we don't get a vote either. So I think I appreciate the conversation, so that I'm not put in an awkward position.
Are we all comfortable right now with
Yes.
that?
so.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
the only is
Yeah,
if
thank you
it's
for
the
going.
tie is between Charlie and Brandon, then we're stuck. But we're getting into a statistical improbability, but you know how I work.
Julie, I saw your hand.
Quick question. I know, Birgit, you're the delegate, but should we officially select an alternate? Because in the event you couldn't attend for some.
That would probably be good.
It wouldn't, I don't know if the vote would be problematic because we didn't designate somebody.
An alternate,
Yeah.
just for the sake of
You are
argument.
after my heart with that
All
idea.
bases today.
So I'm not going to presume anything here. Who is willing to be the
It's the 6th. right?
backup that Monday, the 6th of June?
I can, for you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Julie, I believe you have everything you need then on the resolution? All right, I believe that concludes the
Yeah,
conversation.
I suspect that with it being clear to this entire board, the two candidates of choice, that the chances are pretty good most other boards are going to arrive at the same conclusion. I think it was fairly clear cut. And so I'm confident that we won't have to rely on Birgit to do that, but it's good to have a fallback position just in case. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
Okay.
That's just an odd situation. That
It
is
is.
the first time that so many people have put in
Yeah,
for
it
it.
It's the
hasn't
first-
been like that ever, I think.
Well, it's the first time it's been contested since 2008, and it
Right,
was
but I
3
mean,
for
with
2, but that many, right?
Candidates.
And then
So-
if you voted 2 selected, you didn't have to do an alternate.
Yep.
All right, thank you all. And so we'll move along to student achievement, and Heidi, please.
Okay, wanted to give a summer school update. For elementary right now, we have 290 students currently enrolled, and summer school begins on July 11th at Orion Oaks. Our middle level registration, it was not strong at all. So what we're going to do is change our plan and offer one-on-one or small group tutoring to the students who did register. So this tutoring could be done virtually or in person. Right now, we're in the process of getting feedback from each family who did register to see what they would prefer. So anyone who wanted to participate still will be able to participate. High school registration is on the website. Students have until June 17th to register. This is for credit recovery or credit forward. The credit recovery is free. The credit forward is $300 a course. Both are virtual. Just a reminder, too, that the leveled reading books were purchased by the district and are being sent home to all students in grades K through 3 to read over the summer. So we're excited to provide that opportunity again for students. And then the enrichment book Dragon Book Club that we are offering so far has 80 students participating, and there's still time to register. This program is offered to students in grades 1 through 5. The cost is $30 to help cover the cost of the books and the teacher, and the teachers will meet via Zoom with students 4 times over the summer to discuss their books. This went really well last year, so we're offering it again this year. And then you are aware that we have the Read by Grade 3 law. I'm happy to report that we only had 3 students who did not meet the 1252 cutoff score for the ELA M-STEP. Those parents have been notified, and we are currently working with them on the next steps. And so that's an improvement from what even we've had in the past. So again, very, very low number, and each of those has a unique circumstance. So we are working with those families. And then this week, I was able to attend the LO Robo Expo. That was very exciting. I just, again, want to give a shout out to all the students and parents. That program continues to grow every year and accomplish amazing things. And so, like I said, kudos to all of those involved. It's a lot of hours and a lot of work. And then regarding student handbooks, any questions regarding student handbooks?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then bond, you can just drive around the district. There's more construction happening by the day. And so at a few of the buildings, we have teachers that will have a very busy last few days as they pack up, because as you know, we're getting all new furniture for secondary, so we have to account for all of that. And then Scripps teachers are really packing because they're getting all new flooring, all new paint, and some areas of stadium too to wrap up that project. So lots of things happening throughout the remaining weeks. And you'll see more and more work continue as the summer progresses. So I believe that is it.
All right, thank you. Would you be handling the Head Start funding?
Oh, yes. Head Start funding, these are just annual, let me get to there. One is for, I believe, funding that is an increase. Again, these go annually to the board and have to be approved by the board. We don't have any say in the percentage of increase or anything like that. I don't know what page it's on.
43.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, these get approved every year. So one is the, quality improvement approval, which we have to, it's a cost of living adjustment. So again, it's just a formality, really. Compliance.
From a federal entity that requires board oversight.
Yep.
So it always comes before us.
That's an in and out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Questions for Heidi? All right, thank you, Heidi. So move the curriculum committee report.
Sure.
Danielle?
The curriculum committee met. One of the first things we discussed was the high school work-based learning, and tonight was a great example of that. How we have many partnerships within the community. And good news is more relationships are starting to be formed with organizations such as North Oakland Dentistry, Ace Hardware, Great Lakes Athletic Club, Orion Township, Heartfelt Impressions, Audible Arrangements. So And the students participating in the work-based learning are up this year. We have 29 students this year, which is more in the past, and that does not include the teachers and the, what am I trying to say, Jake? The kids and the, what am I trying to say?
Teacher cadet program.
Thank you. I'm like, you're the one that asked it, and I couldn't even think. So that's great news. The suicide risk training also kicked off, and that's the same group that was trained in the threat assessment are being trained in the suicide risk training, and that training will be completed by June 6th, and Heidi just gave us some strategic plan updates and whatnot as far as the teaching and learning department went, so.
All right. Questions for Danielle? All right, thank you, Danielle. So move on to Lamp of Learning Committee report.
Also Danielle.
And also Danielle.
Also Danielle. So this Lamp of Learning Committee was one of my favorites, and that was because we were able to select our board scholarship recipients. So as you saw last night, we granted 4 of those last night, and we have 1 more to grant at our Learning Options graduation, and I'm sure some of you heard, we had 55 applications in total, so we did have quite a few essays and things, but they're all very impressive, and like I said last night, it's always awesome to see the accomplishments of our dragons, so that was our meeting, so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
It
you.
was great.
I just want to thank John, Danielle, if I may,
Yeah.
publicly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Fitzgerald for all his financial insight to helping out the Lamp of Learning during the lean years in the last couple of years. In addition to Julie, you're always behind the scenes gentleman that made sure that this, you need the money to give out the donations, and we thank you, John.
I think also too, Steve, I think you had a huge part in getting donations this year too, if my
Yes.
memory serves me correct, and you were very instrumental in that.
Well, thanks, we all try, but it's just been difficult lately.
Yep,
We
you
apologize.
put in a great effort.
Thanks for all your good work, Steve.
Before we leave student achievement, I just wanted to acknowledge that we are voting on the seal of diversity this evening, and I don't think you have any updates on that, but I just wanted to say that I had asked a question of administration because at our previous meeting, Michelle had alluded to that it's an evolving information, and I just wanted to make sure that what we voted on would be what we voted on, and if there were changes, it would be upcoming, and that's been completely cleared from my standpoint that what we're voting on tonight for the seal of diversity is as it stands. There's nothing new under the sun with that.
Yeah, we're voting on
brochure,
we're
so to
voting on the
speak, so.
concept, and then to allow administration to implement the concept. And they've shown us the draft of the concept, and it's similar to the draft.
So, yes. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
And we'll certainly receive updates.
Yes.
Sure. Great. Thank you both. So move to Human Resources, and Rick.
Yes, you had the candidates, you got a chance to meet those, and then I just wanted to mention, and I'll thank Mark for putting this on social media, but we hosted the Oakland County Bus Rodeo 2 Saturdays ago, and I had a chance to get out and took a look around, and I'm not sure if you know what the Bus Rodeo is. It's actually a competition of bus drivers, and they have a course set up, and they test their skills, and it was quite the party, I'll tell you. They had the music cranking, and, yeah, and it's a countywide initiative, and they've actually asked us to host again next year. We did finish in 2nd place, so we did not win it this year. But
Do tell who was first.
what's that?
Do tell who was first. We've just forgotten.
You know what? It escapes
It's
me.
okay. It's okay.
It's a bad memory.
Yeah. But
It won't be that way
I
next
tell you, the
year.
bus driver said, what
They
a,
go to the videotape.
yeah.
It was nose
Down
to
to the
nose.
nose?
And I have to thank the Oakland County Sheriff. They had 2 sheriffs that helped judge, and they donate their time, and they're there all day, and it was hot. And
Was that at Walden?
no, they parked all the buses at Walden
Oh,
because they had it
I
at the transportation department in the
Got it.
parking lot, so.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a good time.
Yeah,
Our transportation folks did well.
Great.
And we were a great host, and they want us to do it again now.
sounds good.
I watched them drive through Lake Orion, and I think sometimes it is a rodeo, and they're very talented and skilled with the buses, let me just say. Couldn't do it.
That's for sure. All right. right, you all set, Rick?
Yes,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you. So from there, we will move to finance. John?
Good evening. We do have on the agenda tonight the second reading for the Oakland Schools proposed budget. A couple of quick highlights. Property tax revenue budgeted for them is the 4% mark, and their P18 distribution's up to $148.3 million. In the past, the board has consciously made the decision to abstain, so again, that's a recommendation for that tonight. And then also in the board packet is the April board finance report. A couple of quick highlights. We've recognized from a revenue point of view in the general fund, just under 61.2 million. And on the expenditure side of the ledger is just under 66.2 million. And then our cash position is pretty stable, just roughly 8 million this past month, and we're still expecting about a $12 million cash position as of the end of June, really depending upon timing of some grant reimbursements in that area. And then just to add on a bit of what Ben was talking about speaking to the May Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference. It's a very unique year. I think Ben was conveying that quite well in terms of the amount of money, the scale of money, the money, the 1.3 billion in the school aid fund that Ben had referenced was above the already raised numbers from the January one, CREC, and same with the general funds version. So in terms of actual real growth, because a lot of this is related to one-time federal funding and the way its impact on the economy in the state, they're projecting real growth of about $1 billion, which, we'll really have to see how that turns out. And they'll be rolling over about $5 billion into next year to figure out how to spend. And that's really where the pull up the popcorn and grab your favorite drink to watch the show when they start doing the how to spend $5 billion. So, any questions? I'd be happy to.
Questions for John?
I do have some questions. If you could elaborate some more on the tax refund that they're talking about. I know last Thursday, while everyone was basically having dinner, the House and the Senate worked at record speed to get some bills through and on the desk of the governor within hours that addressed this. And to me, it seemed so fast-paced and so maybe not quite thoroughly thought through, trying to be polite, and not in our favor. I've heard it addressed that, taking away from the school aid fund, and it's not going to necessarily be able to be replaced in any way, because this is not necessarily repeatable next year.
Right. With respect to what's going, there's the little bit of the competition going on between the two houses of the legislature and then the governor, and I think the governor was putting forward an outright rebate of existing funding versus tax cuts and those kinds of things. The underlying issue is that it's an election year. They're all going forward to put forward their best presentation of what they think of as governance in terms of whether they're going to be rebating taxes or cutting taxes. The reality, though, to get to what I think is your point, is in a year or two, when the effect of the federal money goes bye-bye, and if we end up slipping in terms of economics and actually get into a recessionary world, they'll be turning around, taking money back because of the cutting taxes now may look great for the next 6-month window, but in the long term, and the state's gone through this many times before. So I would not be shocked if something like that happens. Knock wood, hopefully it won't. They did say there was some underlying base revenue growth, but a lot of that's tied to sales tax, i.e. gas sales tax, and record gas prices create record gas sales tax collection. So theoretically, in a year or two, when that settles down in and of itself, we're going to see a drop in those pieces. So there's a lot of risk in the way they decide to handle the funding and tax base.
Are you talking about some of the details that were in that legislation? Or just the impact?
The impact.
Okay.
That's my biggest concern here, and is continuing to try to advocate for education. We have this incredible opportunity where there is actual funding to accomplish something and to, at a minimum, give us an increase that matches inflation.
I would be thrilled if they
Wouldn't
did
that be something?
But they're not even proposing that.
They're not even
But
proposing it.
The highest proposal thus far is about 5.2%, which is, in any other year is
Which be amazing.
huge.
Yes, agreed.
But considering inflation's well over 8%, we're, across the board, everybody's losing ground. And they're not really working that into consideration. It would be great if they took a large chunk of the excess revenues and rolled that forward in a fund to ensure that there can be some decent raises over the next 2-3 years, just in case the bottom does fall out. But that's being an election year is really making it go way over the top on who can put on the best show, and you know how that all plays out in election years.
Speaking of election year, I'm really hoping that legislation that ducks power goes through.
That would be great. Yeah.
You good?
I'm fine.
Very valid point. I mean, the other shoe will drop. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right, thanks, John. Any other questions for John? All right, thank you. So we'll move to action items, and may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
As soon as I get to it.
I move to approve the following consent agenda items. Approve the minutes of the May 11th regular, May 16th special and closed sessions, the May 16th Lamp of Learning Committee, and the May 17th, 2022 Curriculum Committee meetings.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The consent agenda is approved. May I have a motion to adopt the resolution for Oakland School Board of Education election?
I move that we adopt the Oakland Schools Board of Education election resolution as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you.
Should we, I guess the question is,
Acknowledge.
as presented, it should.
And discuss.
shouldn't it be
Yes, discussed.
Okay, should it be read into the record of what the resolution is?
You want to read that resolution?
I can.
Go right ahead.
Oh, come get it. I just think it's odd that we're voting on a resolution that we haven't.
Yep.
But the primary focus is who we're voting for.
Right. So as discussed
I-
and
I
agreed.
guess
As
it's-
discussed,
it
because we
just
did
seems-
narrow it
It just
down.
seems odd to me that from a parliamentary procedure that,
Well, it'll already be in the minutes that we.
I think the most significant is number 2.
Yeah, so the resolution, the board designates Birgit McQuiston as its representative and Susan Flaherty as its alternate representative to serve on the electoral body. The board supports candidate Connie Williams and candidate
Steve Gottlieb.
Steve Gottlieb for the two positions, and the board directs its representative to vote for Steve Gottlieb and Connie Williams on the first ballot taken. If there is a tie, the board would direct our representative to vote for Barb DeMarco.
Yes, correct.
Barb DeMarco as its alternate in a tie-breaking scenario.
Thank you. Is there support for that?
Support.
Thank you. Let Jake
It's a
return.
roll call.
And Julie, please.
Ms. Brissette?
Yes.
Mr. Dracos?
Yes.
Ms. Flaherty?
Yes.
Ms. McQuiston?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Yes. So the resolution for the Oakland Schools Board of Education election has been adopted. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the seal of global diversity?
I move to approve adding the seal of global diversity, beginning with the 2023-2024 school year as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The seal of global diversity is approved. May I have a motion to approve the student handbook revisions?
I would move to approve the proposed revisions for the elementary school, middle school, high school, and learning options student handbooks for 2022 through 2023 as presented.
Thank you, Steve. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We have a motion to approve the Head Start and Early Head Start funding.
I move to approve a 1.22% cost of living COLA increase and a quality improvement increase of $51 per funded slot for Head Start and Early Head Start programs from January 1st to December 31st, 2022, as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The Head Start and Early Head Start funding is approved. May I have a motion to approve the certified new hires?
I move to approve 7 certified new hires as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The certified new hires are approved. And Jake, please.
Welcome. I mean, it's a great list. Rachel, Eric, Bobby, Rachel, Soraya, Rebel, and Ashley.
Thank you very much. All right. Move on. May I have a motion to approve the Oakland schools, take action on the Oakland schools 2022-23 proposed budget resolution.
I move that we abstain from adopting a resolution supporting or disapproving the proposed 2022-23 Oakland ISD budget.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All,
Roll
roll call for this as well.
Ms. Brissette?
Yes.
Mr. Dracos?
Yes.
Ms. Flaherty?
Yes.
Ms. McQuiston?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Weedman?
Yes. The action has been taken on the Oakland Schools 2022-23 proposed budget resolution, and the board has chosen to abstain from taking action on it. So that concludes our action items. We'll move to public participation for non-action items and topics. We have one person who signed in this evening, Kimberly Mansour.
Jake's going to read it.
Pardon me?
Jake's going to read it.
Jake,
I'll
go ahead.
introduce the please come forward. Welcome to the Lakehorn Community School District Board of Education meeting. This is a meeting of the board for the purpose of conducting school district business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. If you desire to address the board, you have to sign in advance of the meeting at the sheet located on the table. When addressing the board, identify yourself by name and indicate if you represent a group. Your time will be limited to 5 minutes. I will give you a signal at 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and it's a hard stop at 5 minutes. Individuals addressing the board should take into consideration the rules of common courtesy. The public participation portion of the meeting cannot be used to make personal attacks against a school board member or school district employee, which are totally unrelated to the matter in which the member or employee performs his or her duties. If the comments are about an employee, the employee must have been notified in advance and would have had the right to request a closed meeting. The board is not obligated to answer questions or make comments in response to issues raised. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent to be followed up.
All right, thank you, Jake.
All right, well, good
Please.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Mansour, and I am a community manager at Orion Lakes Mobile Home Community. We're located at 47 Bluebird Hill Drive in Orion Township, Michigan. It's just Brown Road, just west of M24. So the reason for our attendance in this meeting today is really just to open up a discussion as to changing our school districts from Pontiac School District to Lake Orion School District. As the community manager, I am on site, and I've been on site there for about 2.5 years, and I have just seen this overwhelming demand to change our school districts from Pontiac to Lake Orion. Really, we have a select few, or more than few, but we do have a select group that are going to Lake Orion schools right now. However, it is a small window for school of choice. We have a lot of residents who have a lot of problems getting into school of choice, whether they're getting waitlisted or they're just getting denied, or their kids are getting sent into different schools, so it's really just not ideal for them at all. However, a lot of them are moving to the community with the expectation that they can do school of choice and to attend Lake Orion schools, which played a huge part in the role to move to our community. We have done a whole lot of improvements to our community. Like I said, we're owned by Haven Park. We bought it in 2018. So I will let Jerry, my RVP, get into that now.
Hi, Jerry Finstermaker again on behalf of the residents of Lake Orion. since we took ownership of Orion Lakes in 2018, we brought in, 230 brand-new homes we're looking to fill. It is 420 plus home sites. So as Ms. Mansour has mentioned, it's been an overwhelming request from the residents to, petition or the board to try to get our school board, or the school districts rezoned. We have started a petition, and I think at this point, we just wanted to open up the topic for discussion, kind of see what is needed, what information would make the discussion review process easier, and then, I guess, timelines and things like that as well, so we could communicate back to the residents.
We can't respond to you here, but have you left your information with Julie?
We will before we leave
Yeah,
tonight.
that'd be great. And then someone will follow up with you.
Yeah, looking at the 5 steps you have in the back, we felt this venue was probably the more appropriate than individual school and that discussion, so.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
All right. So it brings us to recap and next steps. Ben?
All right, thank you. Just a couple items. One, Birgit will be attending the Oakland Schools Board election, and Susan will be waiting in the wings. And then,
We have a meeting before then, don't we? Don't we have a meeting next week?
We do, but he's just.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then also just a reminder to get your calendars straight, keep them straight. It's going to be really busy over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So let's just make sure that if you have any questions, touch base with Julie. She's got all of the important dates. So that's it.
All right, thank you. So closing comments. John?
Welcome to our new staff.
Thank you. Rick?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Heidi?
Nothing further.
Ben?
Just a thanks to our police agencies, both the village and Oakland County Sheriff's Department. They've continued to be great partners, and they did what they could today as far as a presence in the schools, and they'll continue to do that for the remainder of the school year. And obviously, it'll be based on what the community need is at the same time as far as their presence. And then also to our staff, they continue to do great work in challenging situations, and today brought another level of emotion for individuals. Also, just great thanks to our staff that has retired, given the early notifications, and that has allowed, Rick and our team to do all of the work to bring all these hires at this time of year instead of in August and September. And I just want to thank Rick through the negotiations process. They established additional timelines and stipends, which created the motivation for these early notifications, and certainly Jeff was part of that in the negotiations too, so it made a big difference. Thanks to Julie and the Lamp of Learning Committee. Last night was, one of the highlights of the school year, and thank you for your work on that. And certainly our hearts go out to Robb Elementary School and all of the families impacted with that recent tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
I'm going to end the meeting quietly. We started the meeting quietly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan?
I wanted to thank everybody who was involved last night. It was a wonderful ceremony, a great way to kind of kick off our exiting seniors and start celebrating them from our side. So that was wonderful. Thank you to the Lamp Learning Committee, Julie, all your work that you put in behind the scenes to make that such a great night. Also, I want to take a chance to thank the retirees. Unfortunately, with the calendars, you reminded me that I have a conflict for the retiree dinner, and I won't be able to join, but wanted to thank them all for all their years of service. I'm sorry I won't be able to be there in person, but really appreciate everything they've done for our community and our kids. So, thank you.
Thank you. Danielle?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate all of our seniors. I know they've been slowly trickling out, but I believe today was their official last day for those that were left, so congratulations. As you know, once a dragon, always a dragon. You can go away, but you're ours forever. We do have a very, very busy calendar coming up, but it's always great to be able to celebrate and be able to do that together. So I'm very much looking forward to all those celebrations that are coming up our way, so thank you.
Thank you. Jake?
Yeah, I want to thank Wayne for coming in and honoring our Teachers of the Year and the support staff of the year. that's great that they get that recognition, and we so appreciate everything that they've done for the district. And as Ben alluded to, that I call this celebration season, and Julie does a lot for us, but Julie does a great job keeping us on track, on point. Hey,
The right clothes.
reminders and the right, exactly, in the right clothes, you need this. But she does a great job helping us out. And then obviously last night, the Lamp of Learning, that, how Julie helps us out with that and honors our students. Really appreciate that. And congratulations to everybody that we got to see last night, and to all the graduates.
Great. Thank you, Jake. Birgit.
So it's just been a heavy week, and I just want to tell you, everyone, that my heart's with Uvalde, Texas, but more so with our community that I know is experiencing almost a post-traumatic secondary trauma over this and fear. And I just want to reiterate to our community and our staff and our students how much I love you, how much I care for you, and my prayers are with you.
Thank you. And I would like to once again congratulate our award winners this evening. And also, I'd like to mention one thing that we talked about as a board in our early work was the issue of, one of the things we talked about was the issue of two-way communication. We've been tackling some issues, and we've been having some individual conversations and making yourself available. I really appreciate the effort to make that communication work as we tackle some issues coming down the home stretch here. So I just want to express my appreciation to you. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you and good night.